Hi, I'm Brad Knowles, producer of Friday Night Flies, hosted by Scott LeBoldis and Scotty Holmes. Enjoy the show.
Hey everybody, here we are once again, Friday Night Flies. My name is Zach. We're here at Bass Pro in Tawasin. So this week I got another little sculpin pattern for you. It's kind of one I've been tinkering with for the last year or so, maybe a little bit longer than that. I've had a lot of success with it in lakes up in the Whistler area as well as in the rivers in the Squamish area as well. It's a pretty killer pattern. It's pretty fun to tie. It's got some interesting materials from the guys over at Flyfish Food. If you haven't ever checked them out, give them a little follow. They got some fun stuff all the time. But yeah, so let's head on down and check this one out. Like I said, it's a pretty easy one, but it's a fun one, so let's get going. Alright guys, so there it is. Another sculpin for you. Sorry if my voice is a little hoarse today. We had a pretty wild Whitecaps game on Saturday, so lots of screaming and yelling. Here's the front view of that guy, so my voice is a little shot. Anyways, there's the front view of it. It's kind of cool. A little back view. So that's the tan version, that's a brown version, that's a black version. I'm going to be doing you guys an olive version. Here's one here. I forgot to put the fins on this one, but that's kind of basically what it looks like. So it's a pretty cool little pattern, and let's pop that out of the vise there. So I'm going to show you basically what I do for the fins. So basically I've got a speckled brown hen saddle right there, and what I do is I take one of these hairline hook and bead mats and I place the fins on there after I've cleaned them up, and I'll add some of the UV thin resin to it. I mush it around with my finger and I zap it with the light. And what that does is it makes the feathers a little bit more durable, and they last a little bit longer, and it keeps them almost like a plastic material now, which is kind of cool. So basically what I do is I just peel them off, and then there's sometimes a little bit of the UV cure kind of still on there. I just pull it off. It's for a little more natural looking. That's kind of basically the finished product there. Hopefully you guys can see that. And I'll just use 2 of those with the flies. So I'm just going to get another one going here. Same idea. So I just peeled it off the mat. I've done it on different surfaces. I find these mats, it doesn't, when I've done it on plastic, it actually leaves a big halo around it with the UV resin. So whereas with the mat, it pretty much comes off right off the tips. So it's kind of a good idea to pick up one of those and have it at your table side if you don't already. So that's kind of my fin one that I use, and then I've got another nice clean one that I use for just the hooks and beads. So in the vise here, just tighten that back up a little bit. Which way are we going here? That way. I've got a Tiemco 200R. It's a curved nymph hook. This is a size 6. So this is more the size that I would use in the rivers. If I was fishing this in the lakes, I would shrink it down a little bit. I would tie it on a size 4. Or am I going backwards here? No, that's the size 4 for the rivers. Size 6 for the lakes. I'll also use a smaller size I for it as well. So I'm going to start that thread right behind the eye, work my way back, get a little bit of a base going. So again, for the river one on the size 4, I'm going to be using a medium-sized dumbbell eye. I got the double pupil brass eyes here from Hairline in medium for this one. I'll also use the pseudo eyes. When I'm using the size 6, I'll use a small. So that's kind of them there. You can mix and choose. It all depends on how fast you want the fly to sink and things like that. We want the sculpins to be hugging the bottom, so that's kind of why I go this route. I'm going to have maybe 2 or 3 eye widths back from the hook eye, so we're going to tie these eyes in. And I want to leave a bit of a space at the front because we're going to fill that in with a dubbing head on this guy. So we're really going to lock these down. Like I said, this uses some of the materials from the guys over at Flyfish Food. They make this killer dubbing for heads for streamers. It's very similar to like a, what's his face? Drawing a blank here. Like a Senyo laser dub. Similar idea. It's really soft, fairly long. This one I find has some cool colors to it. They've got a huge range of it, so definitely go check them out. Just going to secure those in with a little bit of head cement. The wraps on top and the wraps on bottom. A little bit more there. Superfly, I don't know what you're putting in these new ones, but they stink. You know it's working. I'm gonna take my thread back. I guess I should mention I got a Ultra Thread UTC 140 in olive on this one. You can use whatever thread you want, really. And I'm gonna take it just back to the hook point. And then I'm just gonna take some natural rabbit dubbing. You want these flies to sink, so I find a rabbit loves to absorb water. And it makes the fly quite heavy, so it's gonna get you riding right on the bottom. So I'm just gonna dub that on my thread. Doesn't have to be too perfect. We're gonna cover most of this up. Don't really need a taper. Just kind of work your way up. Make sure it's a nice tight noodle. That's really all that matters. I'm gonna add a little bit more here. Maybe more, just an underbody here. Like I said, losing my voice after that Whitecaps game on Saturday, it was last week was pretty nuts. It's a good win, good win. We needed that one. So there we go. So I got maybe about an eye length back. That's where I'm gonna be tying in my next stuff. So like I said, I'm doing an olive. So for the tail, I've got just a olive rabbit strip here. And I'm gonna invert my vise just so I can get a measurement. So just where that rabbit dubbing ends, or sorry, begins, that's where I'm going to puncture the hide on this guy. So right in the middle, pop that in, flip it back upright. Now I'm going to pop the hook out of the vise. I'm going to try and do this on camera for you guys. I'm going to rotate this, pull it through, I'm going to flip it over. Sorry, so this one's going to ride hook point up. So I'm just going to invert that. Now my hook point's up at the top. I'm going to put that in upside down, back in the vise. Now I'm just going to secure that rabbit strip in. Right on top, right behind those eyes. A couple snug wraps there. We can kind of just leave that tag in there, it's not really going to show up anyway. And now I'm just going to trim my tail, so I'm going to, just to kind of make this a little easier to work with, I'm going to cut it about a body length. I'm going to taper it off at the end when I'm done the fly anyway, just to get that out of the way. So there we go. So that's the start of our fly there. So, and this is the part where I've been kind of experimenting on the black one here. I've got just a saddle hackle and some red ice dub. I've been kind of messing around with different stuff. Today I'm going to use some medium-sized Palmer chenille in red as my base, and this is going to imitate the gills. So I'm just going to stroke all those fibers back. They're all pointing down. And I'm going to tie that in right at the eyes. And I'm going to get enough to get a good solid base here. You want a nice solid color red. 3, maybe 4 wraps. 3 would probably be plenty as well. And I'll lock that down, nice and snug. Trim away. So that's the start of our gills there. Careful when you're stroking stuff back, because now that hook point's on top, so you don't want to be stabbing yourself. I've done it a few times. And now just for the fins on this one, I got a red saddle hackle from Superfly. So with some nice stiff barbs. You want this to help prop those fins up when we tie those in next. So I'm just going to tie that in, grab that tip, pull it back. Oops, I pulled most of it off, that's not a problem. Secure that nice and good. And I'm just going to pull those back. Get a few wraps in here. You want it to be nice and full. This also helps to dull down that flash a little bit, just to make it a little bit more natural. Maybe 3 or 4 wraps is really all you need. Lock that down. And again, I'm just going to stroke everything back here. Kind of wrap over top. Just try to get them to stick back a little bit, like so. Alright. So there is our gills. Now we're going to add in the fins. So like I said, I just covered them with some UV resin, cured them up on one side. And I'm going to tie the one in on my side first. Alright, so there's one. I'm tying the one on your side. Try to do it so you guys can see it. If you don't like how they're sitting, I'm going to put that up on its side. Go back and redo it so they sit properly. There we go. So I got both of my fins in. I'm going to take these stems. I'm going to pull them back just to really lock them in so we don't lose them when we're fishing them. I'm going to trim that away. Just built a little bit of thread wraps there. Now we're going to start our head. So on this one, like I said, got some dubbing here from the guys over at Fly Fish Food. I've got the, this is the Bruiser Blend Junior. This stuff is awesome for building streamer heads. It's really soft. They've got a little bit of flash in it. When this stuff gets wet, it slicks right up. It actually looks like a real fish head, which is pretty cool. So for the bottom, I've got the cream, and for the top, I've got the Oka Lychee Craw, which is a really nice sculpin pattern or color, really nice olive. I've also got them in for the tan. I've been using the, you guessed it, tan, as well as the cream. I've also got the Alpha Wolf that I've been using on the black and the browns. Pretty cool material, like I said. So I'm going to start on the bottom here. I'm going to take a good chunk of the cream. I'm just going to kind of preen that in my fingers, kind of even everything up. And then I'm going to roll it, so it kind of squishes down a little bit. And then I want it to be a little bit spread out. So I'm going to place that on about half and half. I'm going to do a loose wrap on top, kind of cinch down, get a couple wraps in place to right up behind those eyes. I'm going to pull that forward just a smidge. Now I'm going to take that Oka Lychee Craw, the green color. I'm going to take a little bit of a thicker chunk. Again, preen that out. Kind of like we do with the diamond dub when we're doing those composite loops. Kind of roll it in your fingers a little bit. Get to spread out just a smidge. Again, I'm going to place that right on top. I'm going to cinch that down. A couple of back wraps there. So now we got kind of this X shape going on. So I'm going to pull this top layer back. I'm going to get a wrap in front. I'm going to do the same with the bottom. Get a wrap in front. I'm going to stroke them all back together. Give ourselves a couple wraps here. It's going to help to push everything back. Then I'm going to take my thread up front of the eye. And we're going to repeat that same step. So we're going to start on the bottom here. Preen some of this white out. Kind of roll up my fingers. Again, going to have it kind of spaced out just a little bit. Just going to have to fill in some of the gaps. Nice loose wrap. Make sure that's sitting right on the bottom of the hook. Careful that olive there, kind of getting it trapped in. Alright, we're going to go on top again with the green. Remember, first time I fished this, I was with my buddy Jeremy. We were fishing up at Alta Lake. The fly didn't even hit the water, and he had one come up and smash it. It was one of those kind of things. We continued to catch quite a few fish on this pattern that day, which is kind of nice. It's kind of a little bit thicker on the top with the green. I'm going to hold it on top so it kind of wraps around just a little bit. There we go. I'm going to lock that in. Again, we're going to pull that back. Separate those two. Couple wraps on the green, pull that white down. There we go. It helps you kind of lift your thread up a little bit there. I'm going to tie back right at the eye here. Really kind of cinch back a little bit. This is going to push everything back. As you can see there, it's already starting to kind of take shape, like so. How's it looking on your side? It's actually looking pretty good. So now I'm going to whip finish. You're gonna pull all of those fibers back. Try not to stab yourself like I just did there. Get a nice tight whip finish in. You definitely add some head cement to this one. Alright, we're gonna trim that away. Got the shakes going on here. Alright, so now we're gonna finish this off by just taking a little comb. I'm just gonna brush all that dubbing back. Kind of clean it up a little bit. How you doing? We are live. Store is open. We got customers walking around. I'm just gonna take some of that extra. Gonna throw it off to the side. I'll throw that back in the package. Just really give it a nice little comb there. Same with on the underside. Doesn't matter if some comes out. It's not the end of the world. There you go. I got quite a bit out of there. Again, throw it back in the package. Reuse it. And there is our finished sculpin. I'm gonna pop that out of the vise for you. Just give you a front view. That's what she looks like there. A nice big head like sculpins do. Like I said, when this material gets wet, it really slicks up. It actually looks like real fish skin, which is pretty crazy. Now for the tail, I like to do this with all my rabbit tails. You see how it's all squared off there? I like to cut it to a point. It's easier if I could do this off camera. Just come in, just put a nice little taper. That's one side. I find you get a better flow out of the rabbit when you do this. Something kind of like that. And I don't know what it is, there is something about it that really gets a good flow to the tail. So that's our finished sculpin for you guys. Hope you guys enjoy that. It's one of my favorites. It's pretty easy to tie, like I said. I do up a bunch of the fins ahead of time and just kind of knock them out. So it's one of those things. I'm going to be tying up a bunch of colors here, get myself a little sculpin army going on. So hope you guys enjoyed. Let's head on up and sign out. Alright guys, so there's my sculpin. I don't really have a name for it. Like I said, I got a little army going on. A whole bunch of them, different colors, different sizes. I kind of mess around with everything on this one. It's kind of a fun one, so definitely tie some up, post some onto some photos onto our Facebook page. We actually did a thread the other day where we're posting our tying benches. Please check it out. I posted mine on there. I know Scott, he's going to post some stuff when he gets back. Scotty Holmes posted a little bit. Let's see what you guys are working with. Let's make this a pretty fun community. I know you guys are all pretty fun and eager to chat with us and ask us questions and all that stuff. So let's bounce ideas off each other. So check us out on Facebook. Check out the full recipes on our website, www.fridaynightflies.com. And yeah, that's it. Tie them up, fish them. Should be a good time. The fry are hatching down in the Squamish area from what I hear. And the sculpin should be there soon too. So yeah, see you guys next week.